Okay, I think we're live, hopefully. I'm watching it over here on the other laptop to see the moment it goes live. Did it work? It worked. A miracle has occurred. Thank you, everybody, so much for waiting. I appreciate it so much. I'm sorry that we are officially 25 minutes late on getting this started. No matter what I do, my web browser will not recognize my webcam. But Brian is an amazing best friend and has lended me his laptop for today's hangout, and hopefully in the future I will get the laptop that I usually use worked out. So sorry if I'm looking over to the side sometimes. That is where I'm going to be following the chat. That is where I have the chat open on my laptop. Do you want to see? Look, there's the other laptop. So, whew. Sorry if I'm looking over to the side. I promise that is actually because I am watching all of you and seeing how all of you are doing. How is everyone doing today? How many people are here for this live hangout? 9 people? Hello, 9 people. One of those is probably me. Hello, 8 people. I already see one person who's been in the Discord. Oh, hello. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. So I have like a couple of possible topics for today to talk about, but they're just kind of general topics. This is going to be very laid back, and any questions you guys have, if you ever want to derail what I'm talking about and ask me other questions, then we can move over to that, because I would definitely be interested in hearing more of what you guys are talking about instead of just like general things, that I have written down. Thank you, watching from work. I love that. You're my kind of person. Here, I'm checking in on our Discord chat to see if people are over here. Okay. Cool. Yes, another person watching from work. I love this. So let me open up the possible ideas I had for this initial live show. I thought it'd be fun to talk about maybe what people are currently reading. I'm currently reading like 8 different things, but currently only reading one thing. I have 3 firmly set to the side until probably March. Yeah, probably March is when those things will be delayed too. So what I'm actually currently reading is Our Own Private Universe. I know a lot of people have been watching my TBR. I know a few people. I'm sorry. I just got an email from HarperCollins. I've been trying to get HarperCollins to talk to me for literal years. That was an unexpected email. Wow, this is so organized. So I think people have been watching my TBR. I uploaded it early to Patreon, so you guys probably saw it a little earlier than today, but I think people are really liking it. I am not that far into Our Own Private Universe. I'm like 40 pages in? Yeah, I'm on chapter 3. But I'm liking it so far. I think it's cool. I think it has potential to be awesome. Yes, thank you. I also hope it is a good email. I think it is something to do with reviewing. Yeah, I'm just gonna open it. I'm gonna see. Huh. It is not related. It is not related to reading. It is related to writing. That is an email I'm gonna have to read later. Sorry, guys. Let's see. So, I'm in the middle of 4 different books. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, yes. Warcross, Queen of Shadows, and the Nightingale. Ooh. Okay. I need to do a reread of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I need to do a full reread of Harry Potter. I'm planning to do that this year. I was thinking of doing something where I do a full vlog for every book in the Harry Potter series that I reread. So just like vlogging as I read the book, hearing my thoughts in real time, just doing one for every single book in the series. I kind of want to do that for the Raven cycle as well, because I also want to reread that in 2019. Warcross is fun. I was like a little let down by the end of Warcross, but I thought it was a really, really fun book. So I get it. I get the hype for everything regarding Warcross. Group reread. That would be fun. Queen of Shadows. Okay. That's, what is that, book 4? Is that book 4 in Throne of Glass? I think Queen of Shadows was the last Throne of Glass book I ever read. So, yeah. And I have never read The Nightingale. I know like moderate amounts about The Nightingale, but I've never read it. Oh, okay. See, I'm recovering from a reading slump. I just finished We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. Are you heartbroken? And started Truth Witch. We Are Okay broke me in 8 different ways, but it's such a good book. I love the way Nina LaCour writes. Very, very much. And I've been unsure about Truth Witch. Like the fact that it has witch in the title intrigues me. It makes it seem like it should be my type of book, but I've always had a real distance from what that story is described as. So I don't know. It's really weird. I've just never felt the draw to read it, even though I know a lot of people like it. So how's that going? Is it good? See, oh, thank you guys for saying that you liked my TBR video. It was really fun to film. Let's see. Nightingale, World War II historical fiction is what The Nightingale is. See, that's the thing. So I've last year I discovered a lot more and more that I liked historical fiction. I've said for years that I didn't like historical fiction, but it turns out I do. Surprising twist. My mother is very pleased. She's been trying to get me to read historical fiction for ages. But one of the time periods I'm not as invested in is stuff regarding World War II. Like that doesn't quite have the draw to me. So it's got to be a really good book for me to be invested in a story that's set at that time. But like I said, I have heard really good things about The Nightingale, and that's such a personal preference. Yes, it was book 4. Queen of Shadows is book 4 in the Throne of Glass. Okay, that's what I thought. I'm currently reading The Quartered Sea by Tanya Huff, engaging adult high fantasy. Ooh, see, I want to read more adult high fantasy, but I feel like so much of it is written by men that I'm really intimidated by trying to get into that genre. So I read bits and pieces, and I really try to get invested, but it's been a little more difficult. So whenever I hear adult high fantasy and it's by a woman, I'm immediately invested. I'm really excited about a book that's coming out in 2019, I think in March, The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, because it sounds fantastic. I know that one's also super queer, but that is, while I enjoy queer stories, and while it probably seems like on my channel a book has to be gay for me to read it, it doesn't have to be. So like I'm invested in The Priory of the Orange Tree extra because it's queer, but I think I would be interested anyway because I want to read more adult high fantasy so much. All right. Currently waiting for the new Holly Black book. Is that the one that everyone's had for like a year? Because it feels like everyone's been talking about. Is it The Wicked King? Is that the new Holly Black book? I feel like people have been talking about that for so long and it hasn't even been released yet, and that's so wild to me. But yeah, I mean, people love that new series. People love it. Everyone loved The Cruel Prince, and it feels like everyone's really liking The Wicked King as well. Just finished What If It's Us, and it was super cute. Oh, I'm so glad. I really want to read What If It's Us. I'm actually planning a buddy read with another booktuber, Morgie Reads. If you don't know Morgie Reads, you should be watching her videos. But we've been texting for a while. We're like, and we talked about how we really both want to read What If It's Us. So I'm not sure when that's gonna happen, but I'm gonna buddy read it with Morgan, and I think that's gonna be fun. Currently reading The Future Will Be BS Free by Will McIntosh. Huh? What? I have never heard of this book. The Future Will Be BS Free. I'm super curious what that is. An Elevation by Stephen King. Love Stephen King. I really want to read more Stephen King. That was actually one of my goals in 2018 was to read at least 2 books by Stephen King. But by the time it hit like June of last year, I think everybody kind of knows that my life went off the rails and I completely disregarded every reading goal that I made. So I wound up not reading anything by Stephen King. But I really want to, because the few books I've read by him, which books do I have on my shelf? I own The Green Mile, The Long Walk, and Pet Sematary, all of which I really like. But I've read Carrie, and I really liked Carrie. I've read a lot more. I'm suddenly forgetting. When I was in high school, I wrote a paper on why we should include more modern literature in English classes. I wrote like a research paper, and Stephen King was used as a lot of examples. I had like this big theory textbook on why reading Stephen King was useful in high schools. I read his book on writing. So like I really like Stephen King, and I want to read more that he's written. Let's see. Yes, Wicked King does come out tomorrow. That is so crazy. It has been forever. It feels like that people have been talking about that. If you want some amazing adult high fantasy, I recommend Magic's Pawn by Mercedes Lackey. Ooh, has a gay main character and it's just an amazing story. Let me get my pen. Because, like, I'm never going to remember this, and I know I'll still have access to this chat, but, I want that. This is how serious we are, guys. I am by hand writing down recommendations, even though I have my phone right here. But that sounds amazing. Oh, yay! I'm so glad you liked Noteworthy. I'm so glad you liked Noteworthy. I'm so happy if anyone reads Noteworthy and likes it. Riley Redgate has become such an important author to me. A subscriber, Flavia, actually. I don't know if Flavia is here, but they sent me a copy of Final Draft off of my Amazon wishlist, and I just like clutched it to my chest and cherished it when it came in the mail, because Riley Redgate writes stories that have just like, they belong in my heart. Just started The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Yes. Yes. I feel like all of us in the Discord chat have been talking on and off about the Raven Cycle. We actually have a Raven Cycle spoiler channel for discussions of the Raven Cycle. That's how intense we are. Oh, Babette. Hi, Babette. How do you like Patreon so far? Does it make things more stressful? What are some fun aspects for you? Okay. So I love Patreon so far. I have been interested in starting Patreon for the longest time, but I think it took a push. Brian's the one who actually pushed me to fully start it, to get invested. He's the one who chatted with me through coming up with different rewards tiers and all that kind of thing, because I always am invested in growing my channel, but I think that I have a long-standing problem with how I value my channel and how I see that that channel will be valued by others, and I have a tendency to undervalue the stuff that I do. So, like, this is a totally unrelated example, but in 2018, one of the biggest things that I did was I interviewed Victoria Schwab. And when that happened, I had this moment of knowing that Victoria Schwab was coming to Utah, and I was so excited. And for a minute, I thought about emailing her, and then decided that I wasn't a popular enough channel to bother with that. I didn't think that they were going to give me the time of day. Oh, excuse me. And then a little while later, Victoria Schwab's publicist emailed me and asked me to interview her. And that was such a moment for me of going, you know, it's time for me to give myself value. It's time for me to give my channel value. And it's time to let myself be invested in it and not just, like, this is still my hobby and I still love doing it, but it was a moment of me realizing that I wanted to be able to invest more time in it, to make it more than a hobby, especially because I want to work in the publishing industry. So, like, that also motivates it. So I'm really liking Patreon so far. I'm loving having access to all of you guys, to hearing your thoughts. I've loved having the patron Discord for like the upper two tiers. I think that we have a lot of fun chatting in there, and it's really like low key and fun. I like that people are more invested in what I make and have more of an input in what I make. So yeah, I really like that. It does make things like this much more stressful, but in a way that I think I'm handling really well, and in a way that I'm fine with, because it's something that I really, really want to be doing. So I think that That's the difference, is that it's stressful, but it's stressful in that, like, I'm never annoyed when I'm working on Patreon stuff. Okay, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. The Serpent's Shadow. Oh, is that being recommended for high fantasy? Cool. Cool. Let me write that down. Let's see. And yes, reading Check Please. Yes. Everyone should read Check Please. I just got a friend of mine, like in real life friend. We were hanging out on New Year's Eve, and I told her that she had to start reading Check Please, and she started reading it in the theater while we were waiting to see Into the Spider-Verse. It was the second time I saw it, and we were waiting for the movie to start, and she was just sitting there reading through the whole thing, and it made my heart very happy to see, like, real time someone getting invested in Check Please. Let's see. I'm in a slump, so not reading anything, but also will read Running with Lions on Scribd. Nice. I understand the slump feel. I was in a slump for like 6 months last year. I'm trying to avoid feeling like that again because it frustrates me so much when I'm in a slump. But yes to reading Running with Lions. I have it. Since you guys picked this for my Patreon book, I'm still trying to determine how we should do this Patreon book because I'd like it if people had the chance to read the book with me. I think that would be really fun. I'm just trying to determine what the best way will be to do that in the future. I don't know if that means starting like a Goodreads group for patrons where we can talk about the book that month. I don't know if it means like starting a book club for the book that you guys pick, but I would really like to do that because I want to be able to chat as I'm going through what you guys pick for me to read. Let's see. Looks like, oh, possibly a negative review for Elevation. That's too bad. I love everyone who says that they found Check Please through me. That is the dream. That is the goal. That is everything to me. Just because I've been reading it for so long, and I feel like I'm finally getting it out there in the world, and that makes me really happy. But yeah, would people be interested in a book club? I know that it was something that was brought up in the Discord, the possibility of starting like a chat, but I would love it if everyone who got the chance to help pick a book also got the chance to be a part of a book club in case people want to read it along with me. So yeah, seems like possibly people would be invested in buddy reads. Okay. That is something that I will start working on. I will figure out how we can maybe do like a group read for the TBR picks. Because that would be fun. I actually already have the list of books that I want you guys to choose from in February. I just scheduled that poll. It's not going to go up for a couple of weeks, but I already know which 4 books I'm having you choose between for February. So, yeah, I'm really excited for that too. Let's see. Currently reading Darius the Great is Not Okay. Yes, the best. How are you liking it? Are you loving it? Are you crying? Now, I feel like I was too emotionally invested in that book. I did nothing but cry. And I'm sure other people will cry, but I don't know how many people are going to cry quite as much as I cried for that book. It was too real. Reasons to Stay Alive. Oh, I don't know that one. Who is Reasons to Stay Alive by? Because I do not know that book. A reread of The Dream Thieves. I love The Dream Thieves. Excellent choice. And Strange the Dreamer. I have tried to be invested in Strange the Dreamer, and I feel like after all this time, I still don't know what it's about. I really like Laini Taylor. I love her Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. Yes, I just had to look up at my bookshelf to remember what it's called. But I don't know. I feel like I've been all over the place with Strange the Dreamer, and I want people to hype it to me because like I want to be invested in Laini Taylor, but for some reason I haven't been able to get invested in her new stuff. See, I say when you first start out Patreon, take it slow with making other things, especially on other platforms. From personal experience, I find it difficult to manage many platforms. Definitely. Even with what I've experienced through starting BookTube, that's true. For those of you who don't know, because I know some of you have not followed me since I was 16 online, um, before I was a person on BookTube, I had a rather large following as a book blog on Tumblr. It was the same name, Problems of a Book Nerd. If you Google Problems of a Book Nerd, you should still get results for what I made when I was in high school. The little square boxes, yeah. Little square boxes that are like, if you're a book nerd, you experience these things. And that's what I was popular doing first for all of high school and my first 2 years of college. And then after that, I started a BookTube. And it was such a difficult transition moving from trying to manage everything with Tumblr, everything with Goodreads, everything with starting Twitter, then also starting YouTube, figuring out an Instagram. It's a difficult thing to adjust to. And then I've also become part of a queer bookternet Slack, which is a group chat with a bunch of other people who are on queer bookternet who create stuff for the queer internet. And so I've also been dealing with that. And then the Discord, which I've been having fun with, but it is managing that and managing Patreon. So it's a lot right now. And the good thing about that is that I am currently still looking for a part-time job. So right now I can dedicate all of my time, but I am trying to use this time right now to learn how to manage where I need to manage so that when I have this part-time job, I already have some of the skills that I need to manage the different platforms that I've added this year. So thank you. I totally understand what you mean. So let's see. I want to read Darius the Great as well. Yes. Obviously, I recommend that. I will say that some people have found the mental health stuff that they deal with in Darius triggering. Um, and I think it's because it deals very seriously with chronic depression that Darius has had for his entire life. And some people found that really hard to read, and I completely understand that. But I also feel like if not for that book, I wouldn't have been able to recognize the signs in myself, the aspects that I shared with Darius that pushed me to get help. And so that's one of those things where I understand triggers and I want to make people really aware that it deals very closely with depression. But also, had I shied away from that book, I don't know how much longer it might have taken me to get the help that I needed. So like that's my give and take with the triggers for that particular book. I understand it if you don't think you can handle the discussion of depression. I completely support that, but like it was a book I wound up really needing. Um yes, all the mental health rep. Oh, uh-oh. Are we lagging? Are we possibly lagging? Ooh, there we go. Okay. Oh, hello, hello. Made it home. I'm currently reading Wild Beauty. I love Wild Beauty. Oh no. Okay, there we go. Um, cool. And Michelle Obama's book. Ooh, that's a good mix. Some really excellent nonfiction with Wild Beauty. With Wild Beauty, which um is magical realism and in the full tradition of magical realism uses it to address much more difficult topic. Like it's a really and good mix of oh, Reasons to Stay Alive by Matt Hain. That sounds much more familiar. I think let's see. Being Buddy reads through disc. She just sets up separate chat for each book, 3 different book a month with her page. I want to do Discord. The only problem Discord a tier reward for certain levels of patrons. and I want to be able to make it accessible to all patrons, or at least patrons have the ability to vote on track. See, so I'm Is it working? You guys not see me? Oh, keep going to touchscreen on this laptop, and that doesn't work on this laptop. Oh no! Okay, let's turn the camera off and on again. No? Let's see. Continue allowing. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get the stuff to work, but it's giving me struggles for some reason. Okay, people are seeing me? Good, because I'm not seeing me, so there we go! Okay. Sorry everybody, this has been such a mess. Me and live shows have such a contentious relationship. I get really anxious before I do them. I don't know why, I just get really anxious. Luckily, these days, I have access to as-needed anxiety medication, and that is helpful. I didn't used to have that for live shows, and whew, things would have been different. But I feel like I always have issues with live shows. Hopefully, now that I'm doing these monthly, I'll get into some kind of rhythm and we'll eventually get things back to normal. So thank you everybody for bearing with me and for letting me know when you can see and hear. To jump back up to the last thing that was said, if you like Check Please, you might also like Moonstruck by Grace Ellis and Shay Beagle. Yes. Moonstruck is on my TBR. I know Grace Ellis from her work on Lumberjanes. Does Grace Ellis use she, her? I'm sorry. I just completely guessed that, and that's not fair of me. Yes, she does. Okay. Whew. Sorry. Usually I look that kind of thing up before. Yes, Moonstruck is in fact on my TBR. I really, really want to read it, especially knowing Grace's art style and that she is a really cool artist. And it looks so nice and soft and great. And I just recently went through who put together this list. I think it was Autostraddle did a list of queer women in comics and graphic novels in 2018, and I added a ton, a ton of graphic novels and comics to my TBR that, like, I have such a hard time getting to graphic novels and comics because, generally speaking, I have to buy them, and they're more expensive, so, like, I really want to read them, but my list is always overwhelmed. Oh, do you guys want to know a secret that absolutely no one knows outside of like mine and Brian's families? I am moving at the end of August to a new state. Hopefully that's the plan. I'm moving to Seattle. So there's your little secret. I have not shared that with anybody else just yet. And I'm really excited because there is so much more as far as independent bookstores, independent places to purchase things in Seattle. I'm really, really psyched about it. I also have family there, so that'll be fun. But like, I'm really hoping that that's going to help to influence access to graphic novels. When I lived in New Jersey, I had access to this amazing comic book store, and I read comics and graphic novels constantly because I really, really wanted to support that local comic shop that was right next to my university, and I loved that shop, but I just don't have access to a place like that here in Utah. So I really want to find somewhere new that I can just really support by buying a lot of graphic novels and comics. Okay. Yes, yes, everybody, is a very large change. um, but it's really exciting. I'm really, really excited about it. We just renewed our lease, just barely, because it was going to be up at the end of January, and so we renewed it for 7 months. I'm really looking forward to new stuff. Oh, I'm really glad that you found Autostraddle through me, because Autostraddle is a really great website. That is such a great collection of stuff that I use constantly, especially when I'm looking for queer rep in books, especially non-YA. Autostraddle does cover like queer young adult books, but they also really help in finding adult releases that are queer, and that can be extremely difficult to do. Putting together those lists, Book Riot is the only other website I'm aware of that does a good job. Bustle can also sometimes do that, but it's hard to find adult queer releases, and Autostraddle is great for that. And I'm also really glad that you found Buffering through me. I'm super behind on listening to Buffering. Like multiple seasons behind, but eventually I want to catch up and get into Buffy because I love Buffy. Let's see. Yes, my roommate will be going with me. Brian and I will both be moving. Yes. That is the plan, at least. I mean, yeah, that's happening. That's what's happening. No matter where we end up. Okay. Let's see. Let me try to find one of the other things I wanted to talk about. Oh, I would love to go to A camp. Um, every single year that A camp happens, and I just get to see photos of it from all of the amazing queer women that I follow online, I get so sorry, not just queer women. You're right that queer women and non-binary folks also attend. Seeing queer peeps at A camp together makes my heart really happy, and it makes me hope that someday I will be able to go to A camp because that would be amazing. Currently, I'm trying to work out if I can possibly fit in going to BookCon and BEA this year. I've still never been able to go. The problem is I'm saving up to move, and I'm going on a very large vacation at the end of June. So right now the question is really more money than anything else. At the end of June, my family and I are going to Greece. So like I don't know if I can this year fit in the funds for BEA and BookCon. I would love to. I just don't know if it's going to happen. Um, Heather Hogan is a Hufflepuff? Yes. I follow Heather Hogan online. on Twitter specifically. I follow so many of the lovely people who write for Autostraddle on Twitter. It makes my Twitter feed so much gayer and so much greater. Okay. Oh, I wanted to, since it's January, I thought it would be fun to maybe talk about people's anticipated releases. Because my list is absolutely out of control. Absolutely out of control for 2019. I think in 2018, my list of anticipated books was like, I think it hovered between 70 and 80. My anticipated list for 2017 was even lower. It was somewhere in the 50s. My 2019 anticipated releases shelf has got to be at 150 by now. It's let me find a specific number for you. Cuz it's overwhelming. I have an overwhelming number of books that I would like to read in 2019, and that has made putting together my anticipated releases videos ridiculously difficult. 162. That is currently where my 2019 shelf is at. 162 books. So, anticipated releases videos in the past, I think my first year that I did an anticipated releases video, I just talked about queer books. I just talked about the ones I knew, and that was it. My second year, I narrowed it down a bit more. Last year, is this gonna be the fourth time I do these? Oh my god. My fourth year. That's so many years. Sorry. My for 2017, I did 2 videos. I did queer releases and non-queer releases for the first half of the month, and then in July I did like a check-in where I talked about all anticipated releases for the second half of the month, and I didn't split them up. This year, I am doing 3 separate videos just in January of anticipated releases, and then I'm probably going to be doing 3 more videos in June or July to update you on the second half of the year. So for the first half of the year, I want to do a queer YA books, adult releases, which will include queer adult releases, and then YA that doesn't feature queer main characters. But generally speaking, my YA that doesn't feature queer main characters, those are generally still very diverse. They feature mostly characters, I think they feature mostly main characters who are people of color. So, like, it's still an incredibly diverse list, that non-queer YA list. But I've been working on these videos, guys, for so long. I actually have a vlog going right now of how I put my anticipated releases videos together because they're so labor intensive. I wanted people to understand the kind of work that goes into them because I get a lot of questions, especially I've gotten questions a lot on Tumblr about how I know about upcoming queer books. And so I really wanted to talk about how this list gets made. So right now, I have my adult releases, which I have, oh, people are also in the Discord. That's what that notification was. So I have adult releases that's 2 pages long that I've gone through and limited. I have queer YA, which is even longer. It's still 2 pages, but that's after I narrowed it, and I have other YA releases. And I put them in order by release date when I film my videos. So I currently have 2 of my 3 videos planned out. I have my most anticipated adult releases fully planned out, written in order of when they're being released, and I have my most anticipated queer YA, which is 3 pages long, and that's much longer than it usually is. These are going to be some very quick talking videos. Okay, so what are you guys anticipating? That was the point I was getting to. I got off on a tangent talking about all of the work that I've been doing with all of this because I've been living with it for like a month now and just slowly trying to work stuff out. I wish you all the best. Yes, everyone needs to be anticipating I wish you all the best. Not to tell you what you need to be doing, but like, it's totally worth the hype. And I'm so, so proud of Mason. I'm so excited for them and for their book to be published. It's so weird because I know that I would have been anticipating I wish you all the best regardless of any connection to anyone. But my personal experience with this book, I think, has made me want to talk about it even more because I've known Mason online for multiple years and I love them and I have loved seeing them grow. I love seeing them work on I Wish You All the Best. And then I worked with Mason's literary agent for 6 months, and it was like 6 months just prior to Mason signing with Lauren, one of the people at the literary agency. And I worked directly with Lauren. She was one of the people who was guiding me along the process of being an intern at that literary agency. So like my heart is with this book. I've also like become friends with people who were involved in the publicity of I Wish You All the Best. I'm just like, yes, I'm very excited. On the Come Up, yes. On the Come Up is actually one of the poll options for February. In February, I'm reading exclusively books by Black authors in honor of Black History Month, and so I have a full, huge list of potential books that I could read that I already own, but the poll that's going to be up in February is going to be 4 books that I don't own, and whichever one you guys pick is going to be the book that I buy. I will buy it and read it in February. So I have some stuff on there that I could pre-order, and then I have a couple of not backlist books, but slightly older. So I know that On the Come Up is on there because I'm really, really excited about On the Come Up. I've been excited about it for ages. I'm so happy that Angie Thomas finally has a new book coming out. Not that I'm like, come on, hurry it up, Angie, but like I've been really anticipating whatever she's going to write next. Let me look up what else is on the poll. You guys can get like a secret little hidden look into what's going to be on that poll. So On the Come Up is a possibility for a pre-order. I also have The Care and Feeding of Ravenously Hungry Girls by Anissa Gray. That is like a family saga about like a group of sisters, and then one of the sisters gets caught along with her husband embezzling money. And so it's about that family kind of trying to deal with the trial and going through all of that. I'm really excited about that one. So those are the 2 pre-order choices. And then I have How Long Till Black Future Month, which is by N.K. Jemisin. That came out in November of 2018. And Here Comes the Sun by Nicole Y. Dennis Benn, which is a queer book set in the Caribbean, I believe. So those are my options for Patreon for the February pick. Let's see. I find out about all the queer releases through Goodreads. Goodreads is an excellent resource. That is always where I start my research with queer releases. I always start by going through a variety of queer release shelves. It's just a little harder to find queer adult releases through Goodreads, and that is when I end up going to other websites that are slowly putting together lists. That's when it's useful to have something like Autostraddle or Bustle or Book Riot, because they tend to sometimes have lists that also feature adult releases. So that is the give and take there. Let's see, I'd be interested in hearing sometime how you use Goodreads and what you like or don't like about it. I haven't used it a ton and I'm interested in learning more about it. That would be a really cool video to do, actually, because I've been on Goodreads since it was created. Actually, it was a different website before Goodreads. It used to be called Discovereads, and I was on Discovereads from, I think I must have joined Discovereads when I was 14 or 15. So that's almost a decade ago. So I have some experience with Goodreads and how it works, especially considering how much I use it. So that's a good potential video to do. I have loved, by the way, I just forgot her name. Booktuber runs Booktubeathon. I watch all of her videos. What is even happening to my brain right now that I don't remember her name? Ariel Bissett. I don't know what just happened. I've loved watching Ariel deal with the Goodreads color that they pick for your year in, like, your reading challenge, it's hysterical. I think it's the greatest thing. And it's moderately related to how Goodreads runs, but, like, I think it's hysterical. Thank you, everybody, for telling me Ariel's name. I can't believe I forgot her name. Oh, I'm such a disaster. Okay. Anticipating Birthday by Meredith Russo, right? I'm so excited we're finally getting a new Meredith Russo book. I know that If I Was Your Girl was on my anticipated list. The year it came out, that was 2016? I think that I think that If I Was Your Girl was released in 2016 because I know I was part of a group that year where we talked about releases, and I was part of the top queer releases group discussion that year. So I've been really anticipating another one of Meredith Russo's books. I'm really interested in Birthday. It seems like it has a cis guy protagonist and then a trans protagonist, which is what I would expect from Meredith. I'm really interested though. I'm curious to see how it's gonna go. We Set the Dark on Fire. Yes. Okay. We Set the Dark on Fire is another one that, like, I'm so excited for, but also because Taylor, is it Taylor? Or Taylor? I don't remember how to pronounce her name, but she also has an agent from the literary agency where I worked. There's a different agent. His name's Jim. He is a lit agent for, like, so many popular YA books. So, like, you know, but he signed Taylor while I was an intern. So, like, I'm excited for that because I've been waiting for her debut since she was signed. And that's yes. I really hope you have some Octavia Butler books on your TBR list for February. I would like to. The problem is I don't own any Octavia Butler right now. I have a lot of her books on my TBR on Goodreads. I would really like to try to buy at least one for February. The problem is just that my shelves are a little overwhelmed right now, so, like, it's just me trying to push through that feeling, but it's a little horrible that I have an English degree and I've still never read anything by Octavia Butler, so I would really like to in February. Okay, let's see. I was on We Reads on Facebook way back in the day. All right, you beat me. You beat me. You beat my Discover Read story. I bow before you and your time on the Bookternet. Let's see. I'm really looking forward to her new release. Meredith Russo's new release. I read If I Was Your Girl the year it came out. I feel like so many of us did that year. It was such a good release that year. I really enjoyed it, except for the romance felt very meh for me, probably because I didn't love the love interest. The problem I actually had with If I Was Your Girl, I liked it, but I was a little uncomfortable with the representation of the bisexual character in that book. It just felt very, like, let's demonize the bi character, and that can happen more when you have books with a lot of different queer characters, but I know that I wasn't the only one who was a little frustrated with that rep, so that was my problem with If I Was Your Girl. I really liked it other than that. Let's see. People saying they're 22. I'm 23. I'm gonna be 24 in a couple months. I'm turning 24 in March, so almost there. But I'm glad to know everyone's my age. November, baby. So you just barely turned 22. Cool. Happy very late birthday. It's been a couple of months. And 23 in April. So birthday just after mine. April, what day? I love to know people's birthdays. And yes, it must be so cool seeing releases for books that you saw in progress as an intern. Yes. So the thing is, what I did as an intern, I probably should do a video on this at some point because people ask me about it, and at the time I was very hush-hush about it. I didn't really want people to know that I was working at a literary agency or what literary agency I was working for. I don't know why. I just felt like it was better to have that kind of distance, but I probably should do a video talking about it. What I did at that agency was I basically read through the slush pile. So, in case you don't know how books happen, authors start by querying their books to literary agents, and literary agents represent those books when they are sent to editors. So, basically, interns at literary agencies are the first people who get eyes on a book when it is being queried. So I would read submissions, which come with a short email, generally like 3 paragraphs long, explaining what their book is about, the market that they think it's going to be for, and a little bit more about them. And then the requirement for DGB, which is the literary agency I worked for, Distel, Godrich, and Barrett, they would require the first 50 pages of your manuscript. And us as interns would read through those manuscripts and determine if they were strong enough to make it to the literary agents themselves that they were submitted to. So, if that kind of makes sense. It was really wild. I was looking at, I don't remember which author it was, but an author published their initial rejection from their literary agent, and they were like, it's so weird, I got this really generic rejection from a lit agent that has now signed me and represents me. And I was reading over the email going, this sounds so familiar, and I got to the bottom and it was one of the generic emails that interns sent out. So I was like, oh, that's because I sent out that email a lot of times. So the books that are now being published that were being signed while I worked there, just after I worked there, it generally means that I possibly didn't get to see them before they were published. It just means that I got to be a part of the agents being really excited about a new person that they were working with. Jay Coles, who wrote, what is the book? Tyler Johnson was here. Jay Coles also signed with Tyler Johnson was here about the time that I was working there. And so it's just really cool to see those books happen. Oh, All Out, that deal was made a week before I started working there. So I actually got to talk to Jim, who was one of the agents who helped that book happen, a lot about the project for All Out and what that meant. So it is, like, to make a long answer short, it's really cool to see books that I remember from the very beginning making it out into the world. I think that it's a really cool process. That was a long ass answer. Let's see. I'm excited for Defy Me by Tahana Mafi. So many people are excited for Defy Me. I've never read any Tahana Mafi before. I know people either love her books or hate her books. I particularly haven't had like an interest in them, but I think it's so wild to see the way that they just sort of take over the book internet when new ones are released. Maybe it's just because I follow witty novels, so it feels like they take over, but yeah. Let's see. Thank you everyone for sharing your birthdays. I love this. um, April 5th, nice. February 12th, so that one's coming up. Oh, January, that one's real soon. What? How come I didn't know it was your birthday in January? So yeah, it does seem like a lot of us are in our 20s. That is what seems to have happened. All Out, I had that book. Is it worth the read? Yes. All Out is definitely worth the read. So I don't really love anthologies. I have a real issue with anthologies. I think they're incredibly uneven, and while I like short stories, I often have the feeling when I read a short story that it is too short. And that's like a me thing, because that is the actual medium that they're trying to write in, and I respect that. I just have a harder time with it. All Out is one of the more even collections that I've ever read. It still had low points, but overall, I think that it did a really good job collecting all of these authors and all of these stories in a really great place. I think it was a good mix of authors I know and love and authors that I'd never read before. And there were a bunch of authors that I read in All Out that I'd never read before that I really want to read stuff from them because I love their story in All Out. So, it's good. That's the point. I'm glad that people have read All Out, because that one truly, I was that announcement went up on Publishers Weekly that it was purchased by Harlequin Teen in the 2 days before I went to start working with that agent. So it has truly been wild to see how that book has grown, the promotion process, all of that. It's kind of wild. September's a good birthday. I like a good September birthday. I have a friend who her birthday's in September, and my birthday is March 21st, and her birthday is September 21st. So whenever one of us has a birthday, we like to joke and pretend that it's more important that it's actually the other's half birthday, since we have each other's half birthdays. Yeah, I just think that's funny. She's also very lucky because she was born on the 21st night of September, which means that she gets to jam to that Earth, Wind, and Fire song, and that's like, it's the best thing I can imagine. I love that you get to watch books grow. Yeah, I miss that. I really want to get back into that. It was such a cool thing to be able to actually be involved in the process of books, because that is what I've wanted to do since like early in high school. I knew that I wanted to be involved in the process of books. I've known since I was a kid that I wanted to be involved in the book industry. It took being a part of a creative writing course in high school for me to realize that I wanted to be an editor. And this year was really cool, or 2018 was really cool, because I got to work with one of my dear friends, Rachel, on her book, The Poison Within, which I've talked about in a couple of videos now. And I got to be an editor on that book from beginning to end. I got to edit every single page, talk with Rachel through changes, and really see how that book developed, which is what I've wanted to do for so many years of my life. And I loved being able to be a part of that again. I've missed it since working at a literary agency. I've missed having that one-on-one personal experience with books getting made, and it's such a favorite feeling for me. So I would love to be able to get invested in that again. Let's see. I'm so happy where everybody's learning the birthdays. I want to start like a calendar so that we can all celebrate each other's birthdays. I'm very big on birthdays. I'm very serious about remembering people's birthdays, about wanting to celebrate them. So truly learning everyone's birthdays so I can specifically make sure to send birthday messages is very within like my deal. I love that. Sorry. So I'm not sure what this question means. Do you watch Younger? It sounds exactly like what you did. Oh, Younger. Is Younger a show? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that is. Cece, what is your sweater? Oh, it's The Craft. So it says "We are the weirdos, Mister," and it's the girls from The Craft. It's like a crop sweater, so it's a fave of mine. I absolutely love it. Also, I just realized that you guys can probably see this now. This is where I store my glasses. They just go on my lampshade at night. So like at night when I go to bed, this is literally, that's my complex storage system. I just thought that you guys maybe would appreciate that since that's in the background. I just realized that this year's my golden birthday. Ooh, that will be fun. What did I do on my golden birthday? I think I slept on my golden birthday. Because my golden birthday was my 21st. And I'd been on vacation for like 5 days before that, and then my actual 21st birthday was on a Monday night. It was on like a Monday, and I couldn't go out and celebrate because I had an 8 a.m. class the next day. So my actual day of my golden birthday was not that much of a party. That weekend was more fun, but let's see. Oh, that's right. I remember. Okay, so Younger is a show with Hilary Duff. I remember this now. I have heard some mixed things about how that show represents the publishing industry from people who work in the industry, but I really love Hilary Duff. So, I know what you mean now. Um See, it's better than me. I put my glasses on the other end of my bed. What? Like, just resting on your blanket? That concerns me. I am so constantly worried that I'm going to shatter my glasses. Like, I'm a klutz, so I drop things a lot, but I live in perpetual fear that I will break my glasses. I think it's because I shattered a pair of my dad's glasses when I was a kid, and I've, like, never recovered from that. So that was before I ever wore glasses. So when I actually started wearing glasses, I was like, huh, remember that traumatic incident where you broke dad's glasses? Do not go there with your own glasses. Um, oh, so she literally Younger is literally about a woman that gets a job at a literary agency. That's good to know. I spent a lot of time while I was working at the literary agency wondering if I wanted to be an agent instead of an editor, but the jobs are just different enough that I really did land on wanting to be an editor versus an agent, mostly because agents are paid by the books that they sell. So like that also affects editors. You know, editors also get a portion of a book when it sells, but agents, their entire any amount of money that they get paid is based purely on what they can sell a book for, and that is just a little too tense for me. If you get a couple of bestsellers, then you're good, but bestsellers are very few and far between, and things can get real risky real fast. I was also, oh, I have never talked about this. Are you guys ready to hear some actual dirt? Do you remember The Continent? Does anyone remember the controversy of when The Continent was published? Um, I'm gonna see if people remember this happening. Basically, The Continent was this book. It was gonna get released, and then Justina Ireland read an early copy of the book and broke down that it was just like it had really, really questionable race rep. So, um, The Continent, that author, Kira Drake, I worked for her literary agent when that review happened. I worked for that literary agent as the book got delayed, when it got pulled, and I was in the office when they were calling and making decisions about whether or not the book was going to be delayed, which I never talk about because that seems like that seems like such a I was just an unpaid intern, and I felt like I knew way too much about the scenario, and I really didn't want to talk about it on Twitter because I didn't want to jeopardize the fact that I was an intern. But like I was never a part of those conversations, but I overheard all of them. I know which subscription boxes had purchased The Continent and then pulled that when everything happened. So I know which people were going to include The Continent in their boxes. And yeah, it was a whole thing. Which is wild. I think about that sometimes and I'm like, I had way more access to the dirt on that than I had any right to as an unpaid intern. Yeah, no, and I definitely didn't want to that it wouldn't have been appropriate to share that on Twitter at the time. Yeah. That again was part of the reason that I didn't ever talk about which literary agency I was working for at the time, just because I didn't want to put any of that in jeopardy, and I didn't want to share any of the information I might know. And I really maintain that. I mean, I'm never going to go into detail about any of the stuff that I heard while I was working there, even though like they never paid me and I was there for 6 months and that was kind of it. Um, yeah, it's not my place to share any of that, but it's always wild to me that I was there for that. And I've still never talked about it publicly online, that I heard more about it at the time than just on Twitter. What what an event. What a confusing time for me in my life. Cannot believe that actually happened. And I'm sorry, it turns out that what we have been discussing in the chat is sleeping with glasses on. What? How? I I I don't understand. I can't even lie down while I'm watching TV with my glasses on. Is it because my glasses are big? Or am I the weird one here? I did not know that this was how people lived with glasses. I am too anxious a person to do anything ever with my glasses. I I, I live in terror. I think I'm more careful with my glasses than I am with my phone. Because, like, my phone has been through some shit. Every one of my phones that I've ever owned has been through some shit. I dropped my phone in a panda exhibit in China. So clearly, my care in regard to my phone is this big. I just oh, thank you for sharing that. I really enjoyed that. Oh, so we talked about some anticipated releases. How long have we been going now? About an hour? A little longer than an hour? Truly explain yourself. How do you do this? How do you sleep with glasses on? Let's see. What other stuff did I write down here that I maybe wanted to talk about? Oh, let's see. We've got an update on the glasses situation. I'm not that anxious about my glasses. I should be. I can't drive or work without them, but I know my town well enough not to wear them out sometimes. Okay. Okay. I am blind enough that I cannot drive without my glasses. I cannot see without my glasses. I used to be able to so my problem is I can't see far away. I used to be able to read without glasses and I can't even do that anymore. Sadly. Oh, hello. Welcome. Welcome to the live show. I'm glad that you were able to make it. Um we're apparently talking about how careful we are with our glasses. I'm here. I think other people are maybe here, but some people in this chat are down here as far as carefulness with their glasses, and they made me real anxious. Yeah, I've also always had plastic frames. I've never broken a pair of glasses, so I don't know why I'm as anxious as I am about it, but I live in fear. And it's crazy because I don't even pay that much for my glasses. I haven't paid for glasses from my eye doctor since I was in high school. I always get them online cheap. See, this is what I live in fear of. I snapped my plastic frames in half when I was in high school. Ah! Ah. Another suggestion I have is My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness by Kabi Nagata. Deals with mental health, but it's very good. I've heard of this book. I've heard of this book. Where did I put my notes from earlier? There. Let's see. I'm gonna actually remember to look that up this time because I always hear about it and I'm curious, but then I forget. So thank you for that recommendation. Let's see. I'm also at your level, CC. My eyes are bonkers bad, so I gotta be careful. Yeah. That's also what helps is that I have 2 pairs of glasses and sunglasses now. So, like, I've doubled down on the protective measures. When I went on vacation and I only had 1 pair of glasses and 1 pair of sunglasses, I was like, why did I do this? Which is why as soon as I got home, I ordered a backup pair that I could always take with me. Let's see. Oh, all of us with glasses. Can any of us see? Does anyone have any kind of access to vision in this group chat? You lucky people. So, we talked a bit for about anticipated releases. I meant to talk about a couple of mine. Because I have some anticipated releases that I haven't talked about yet. And you guys are going to hear a lot more about these when I do my actual videos. I just pre-ordered a couple, and oh, bye, Kelly. Thank you for hanging out. Have fun FaceTiming your sister and nephew. I hope that you have a good time, and maybe that you're able to make it back for a minute. None of us can see. Yeah, I probably need to go see my eye doctor again because I think that my prescription has changed and it's been 1.5 years since I saw them. Usually I wait 2 years, but I might have to go again pretty soon before I move. I mean, I have 7 months before I move, but still. I just don't want to no longer have access to these. I'm probably going to get the exact same pair of glasses when I change my prescription, because I love these so much. Just the slightly tinted but mostly clear glasses. I love them so much. I mean, I'd have good eyesight if I didn't spend years of my life playing Guitar Hero and screwing them up. That is the most relatable comment I have ever read. What? Oh my god, that is probably exactly what I did to my eyes. I know that it's also from reading in the dark, because I'm a dumbass, but the years of my life playing Guitar Hero and Rock Band probably could not have helped. Whew. Oh, I used to be able to see. Those were the days. Let's see. Yes, they can put new lenses in your existing glasses. I don't know if this is in relation to other conversations that have been going on. Yeah. The thing with these is that they were actually so cheap that it would be cheaper to just buy this pair again with a new prescription than trying to get them replaced with new lenses. That's just like, because these are from Firmu. I didn't get these for free, did I? No, I paid for these. They were like, I don't know, with all the stuff I added to it, like $40 or less. So it's easier to just buy them again. I'm glad other people were reading in the dark. I'm glad I'm not the only dumbass. But anticipated releases I was going to talk about. I just pre-ordered some. I just pre-ordered 4 books. So I have a ton of arcs that I just talked about in a book haul, and that makes those, I'll talk about some of those more in anticipated releases videos and stuff, but let me tell you guys like the 4 books that I just pre-ordered, because I'm excited about all 4 of them a lot. Let's see. I think I wrote down how to pronounce this one. Yes. Last Night in Nuke by Niviak Corneliuson. I pre-ordered that. That's coming out in January, like January 15th, so pretty soon. It's being translated from Danish, and it was a book, it's a book about Greenland, or Greenland? Yes. What am I saying? But it's about like queer nightlife, and I'm really, really excited about that one. So I just pre-ordered that because I wanted it. I just pre-ordered When We Left Cuba by Chanel Queaton. I read Next Year in Havana in December and absolutely loved it. And When We Left Cuba is like a companion novel about someone else from those books. So excited. I pre-ordered Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think everyone knows how much I loved the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So no matter what, I was going to be excited about whatever Taylor Jenkins Reid wrote next. But the fact that it's like set in the 60s and 70s and is about a band, like a fake band, is so up my alley. Someone said in our Discord chat, I think that it reminded them a lot of like Fleetwood Mac, and that's my shit right there. And then I pre-ordered, Real Queer America, which is LGBT Stories from Red States by Samantha Allen? Yeah, Samantha Allen. That is a nonfiction book that I am absolutely dying to read, because, so it is about Samantha Allen, who's a trans woman who is married to another woman at this point, but she grew up as part of the Mormon or LDS church here in Utah, and like was raised very much a part of the Mormon culture, and then like went on a mission and everything, and then later transitioned and has now written this nonfiction book about queer stories from red states. And as like a person who grew up Mormon, who used to be Mormon, and as a queer person especially, I'm dying to read it. That's why I pre-ordered that. So yeah, I'm absolutely dying for that one. Do you know when Daisy Jones comes out? Because I need to get on that pre-order shit soon. Yes, I do. Daisy Jones and the Six is being released March 5th. A ton of books are being released March 5th. That is a huge release date for stuff. Just bought These Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I'm excited to read it. Also just got Evelyn. I'm so happy. Like, it's gonna break your heart, but in the best possible way. I've heard that that's true of other Taylor Jenkins Reid books too. I have one of her other books. What is it? Maybe in Another Life. And I've heard that that's gonna low-key break my heart. Yes. You guys start buddy reads. That would make me so happy. If anyone ever wants to tell me what they think about books that I've loved, you should. I always want to talk about it. DM me on Twitter or wherever. Tell me how much you love books that I love, because it makes me really happy to hear about that and to chat more about it. But let's see. That book set in Greenland, that is released January 15th. That's just like translated. It has already been released before in Danish. It's just that it's getting released in 2019 in English finally. What other books did I mention? Real Queer America also comes out March 5th, because everything is being released March 5th. And where is... Oh, When We Left Cuba. That comes out April 9th. So that's weird. Those are all adult books. That is usually not where my priorities are at, but this year I have so many adult books that I really want to read. My roommate read my copy of Evelyn Hugo over winter break, and she loved it too. I got my mom to buy a copy. We were at the independent bookstore that's here in Salt Lake, and I got my mom to buy a couple of books. One of them was Evelyn Hugo. She liked it. She thought it was like too based on romance, and I was like, don't even talk to me. Don't even talk to me. What are you you make me sad. Just no. Like, she really liked it, but I was like, why would you ever think that it's like romance, but I don't consider it from the romance genre. And that's what she was saying. And I was like, no. Let's see. One of my top favorite books of all time is Radio Silence. Good. I really, really want my own copy of Radio Silence. I would love if I could get the matching covers for my copy of I Was Born for This. Like, all of Alice Oseman's books now have those lovely matching pastel colors, and the Radio Silence one is such a lovely shade of blue. And I really, really want it to match my copy of I Was Born for This. I'd even read Solitaire so I could have the matching set. And I definitely want to read Heartstopper now that it's being traditionally published. I would have read it as a webcomic, but now that I know it's going to be traditionally published, I'm going to wait and read that. Because that's this year, isn't it? Isn't that 2019? I think that someone said that earlier, so yes. What's the title of that book about queer folks in red states again? Yes, it is called Real Queer America, LGBT Stories from Red States by Samantha Allen. And yes. See, I've come to realize how much of a bubble I live in growing up in a very blue part of the blue state. Yeah, it is wild when you grow up in a red state and then you move to other states that aren't deeply conservative. There is so much whiplash involved in moving from really conservative Utah to literally anywhere else. It is, I cannot emphasize enough how much whiplash you get from that situation. It was wild. I really want to read Radio Silence, but it's always sold out at my bookstore. Hate that. If you have access to like any of your library's ebooks, that's always possible. I know that I used, what is it called? It starts with Over. I don't remember what it's called. What's the system where you can rent ebooks through a library system? Because that is definitely what I did for a bit, trying to find books that were never at my bookstore. I really enjoyed Autobiography. Any recommendations of something similar to that? I think that depends on what you enjoyed about Autobiography. I loved that book for its discussion of religion and queer identity, especially growing up the way I did. The fact that I grew up Mormon, that's specifically what I related to. So if you want books that deal with queerness and religion, there aren't as many out there as I would love. I know there's that one by J. Robin Brown, but it's about girls. All of the ones I'm going to be able to name are going to be about girls. that one's Georgia Peaches and Other Forbidden Fruits. I know that Our Own Private Universe is dealing with religion and sexuality. The Raven Cycle technically deals with religion and sexuality, through Ronan in particular. But if you just want like a cheery, not cheery, but if you want just like a good Overdrive, thank you everybody, you get me. If you want like a male romance, I don't know how many male romances I can recommend that are similar to autobiography. I wish I could recommend Release by Patrick Ness, because that would be like a perfect comparison. The problem is that I hate half of Release, but that one is dealing with religion and sexuality and has like the same level of feels that autobiography does. We Are the Ants is in no way similar, except for the fact that it's about boys falling for each other, and it's very dramatic and emotional, but it's not related to mental health, and it's not, I mean, it is related to mental health. We Are the Ants is very much about mental health. Autobiography really isn't. I don't know. Can anyone help me more? I'm drawing a blank. Let's see. My roommate just came to talk and wanted to confirm that Evelyn Hugo was perfect. She says hi. Hi, roommate. I'm so glad that you loved Evelyn Hugo. I agree that it was perfect. It's great. Maybe you can get that copy from Book Depository. Oh, of Radio Silence. They have the old covers, but they also ship that edition of Radio Silence. That's what I was going to do, but Alice actually just posted on her Twitter that when you order them from Amazon, even though it shows the old cover of Radio Silence, all of the new covers arrived. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet, but I don't know. My neighborhood is so blue, the unofficial nickname for it is Where Hippies Go to Retire. The dream. What? Oh my god. Even the new one is always sold out. Oh, of Radio Silence. Yeah, I understand. Some libraries also have Hoopla. That's nice. See, I don't know enough about library systems as far as like ebooks and stuff or audiobooks because I don't generally read those. If I'm going to my library, it means I'm going to be getting a physical book. So I know way less about the other systems through the library. Let's see. That reminded me, not book related, but Overwatch just confirmed that another one of its hero characters is gay. Yes. Yes. So I actually just tweeted about this. I think it was something like, I don't go here, but I'm really excited. Here's my thing with Overwatch. I have never once played Overwatch in my life, but I spent so much time watching my friends play Overwatch that I know more about it than I should. So, like, I know most of the characters' names. I kind of know the terminology behind it. And when Tracer was revealed to be queer, I like died because I love Tracer. I've never played, but I love Tracer. And it's because she's fun and cute. And I was like, I get gay vibes, and then they confirmed it. But I was reading the stuff today about Soldier 76 being gay, and like old grizzled soft gay is a particular crevice of my heart that I was like, I don't even know you. Really? I just know your name and what you look like, and yet emotionally impacted. Cameron Post does deal a lot with religion, that's true. That one's kind of a darker take, Cameron Post. I think when it comes to that, you might also end up being somewhere with like, what was that one that just came out? Beautiful Boy. That was adapted from a book, right? I have a harder time with conversion camp stories, but like I see their value. Cameron Post feels like a classic of YA, and so that's kind of why I was able to push myself to read it, but I have a harder time with other stuff. I know that there are some other stuff. Everyone's talking about let's see, We Are the Ants. I know, it broke me too, but it was great. I'm so glad that you made everyone read it for book club. That is fantastic. Does anyone have any recommendations for books that deal with mental health? Yes, I'm gonna do a video about this in January. That was the video that people voted for me to do in January, which is mental health and YA, normalizing getting help. So the 5 books that I will be talking about in that video are going to be The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli, which deals with kind of generalized anxiety disorder. Let's Talk About Love by Claire Kahn, which is about a variety of things. Mostly it's just about normalizing going to therapy. Then Darius the Great is Not Okay, which is dealing with chronic depression and taking meds for chronic depression. Final Draft, which is about pushing yourself to go and get help. Recognizing that you have anxiety and depression and getting help. And then I Was Born for This features a main character who starts to go to therapy. Ben starts seeing a therapist after they're kicked out of their home and they're dealing with stuff and also start taking medication. Those are ones that I'm going to talk about in that video. I know that there are other ones. Patrick Ness tends to deal with mental health in YA, so The Rest of Us Just Live Here. It's about a main character with OCD. Patrick Ness also has OCD. I know that there's also Turtles All the Way Down that deals with OCD. So those are some good starter recommendations, I think. Let's see. Whoa, I'm sorry, I'm so behind on the chat. Wait, what characters in Overwatch are gay? Is the first time me hearing this? Yes. Soldier 76 and Tracer for sure are the ones that I know about. Let's see. Oh yay! Hello, Kelly, you made it back. I'm very glad. Yes, let's see. Emma Books is a great resource for mental health rep. I totally agree. Emma Books does an incredible job talking about books that feature mental health representation. Mental health is one of the places, mental health and disability rep are one of the places where I feel I am farther behind on a lot of other people. And I really want to try to push myself in 2019 to be more in the loop on representation like that, especially intersectional rep. That's what I push myself to do. I want to be educated and I want to be able to educate other people. And sometimes that means relying on other booktubers who know a lot more than me. And I think Emma Books does an incredible job with mental health rep stuff. Hopefully I will be able to evolve and deal with it more. But if you're looking for people who are already out there doing the work, Emma Books is doing the work. Let's see. Nice try, Jane Sinner. The main character's mental health situation almost directly mirrors mine, and it was so good. Really? I have heard so many up and down things with Nice Try, Jane Sinner that I've had a hard time determining if I want to read that or not. But if you feel like the mental health rep is really strong, then I would definitely move that up back onto my TBR. Because, like, I just feel like everything I hear is really all over the place with that book. But mental health, that would push me over the edge. I'd definitely read it. Yay! Hello, Sierra. Welcome. I'm so glad that you were able to watch. We are talking about mental health rep and who's gay in Overwatch, in case you wanted someone to catch you up on the current conversation topics. But yeah, that is where I'm at for mental health, I think. If it was one of Emma's top books in 2017, Jane Sinner, okay, that totally makes sense. I remember Emma really liking that. I feel like I follow Emma's recommendations more on Twitter than I do on BookTube. Maybe that's just because that's how I was consuming book internet stuff for a long time, was just Twitter and no BookTube viewing. But yeah. Thanks, that gives me a good starting point for mental health rep. Just getting fairly bored with 10 years of reading medical books on mental health and need some fiction instead. Yes. Yes, I completely understand that. Oh, thank you. Thank you for recommending Anger is a Gift. If you want mental health rep, Anger is a Gift is a good one, but there are so many trigger warnings that people should be aware of before they go into that book. I think that it's great for dealing with PTSD, depression, generalized anxiety. It deals with all of those things, but from a very first person point of view. So you are very much in the mind of someone who regularly experiences panic attacks, very severe panic attacks, and very severe episodes regarding PTSD. The main character, he saw his father murdered by the police, and that police brutality is a general theme of the book, and so it's very difficult to get through, but I do think that the mental health rep in that book is excellent. Yes, I agree that the cover for Jane Sinner is gorgeous. Absolutely. But as far as going back to getting bored with medical books and wanting to read some fiction instead, I understand. As a person who was studying English and communications and women's and gender studies for a long time, sometimes it was such a relief to read about feminist issues and feminist history from a fictional perspective instead, because I read so much theory and wrote so much theory. And that's part of why I did my thesis on fiction instead of writing about another topic. It was because I needed some kind of escape from theory and some way of relating theory to the fiction that I was reading and that I'm going to continue to read. That's why I wound up writing about how, in my thesis, why I started writing about feminism and feminist history as it related to the feminist fiction that was being produced at the time. So how feminist fiction influenced theory and how theory was influencing feminist fiction. And I wrote about the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And it was because I really, really needed some kind of way to latch onto the theory that final year of school because I was losing my mind a little bit. Let's see. I couldn't resist and I got something from your Amazon wish list. Oh my god, thank you! What? Thank you so much! I can never believe when people buy me stuff on Amazon. It like about makes me cry every time. Someone actually sent me something today. Yeah, Binti. Someone sent me Binti. I haven't put it away yet because I'm still like trying to process the fact that someone bought Binti for me. Whenever anyone sends me something from my Amazon wish list, I treasure it and I keep your note in the front of the book because it means so much to me that anyone would think to give me a gift. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Just got an email about when something I sold on eBay will be shipped. So totally unrelated. I just read The Chaos of Standing Still by Jessica Brody, and it had some good anxiety rep, in my opinion. Ooh, okay. Have I ever read anything by Jessica Brody? No. I've unboxed stuff that features books by Jessica Brody, but I've never actually read something by her. So I'm really interested. I think I have a book that she partially wrote. Sky Without Stars? Is that what that book is? It's coming out in 2019. It's by two authors. I think one of them is Jessica Brody, but that is a like space opera by way of Les Mis. That's gonna be wild. I'm interested though, but knowing that one of her books has good anxiety rep makes me interested in looking into it. If people have recommendations for books that have like really excellent disability rep or really good mental health rep, then let me know because like I said, that's what I'm pushing myself to read more this year, and so I want to know about them. I haven't quite read a book that represents me in terms of mental health issues. Oh, okay, so I'm still waiting on seeing what the rest of that is going to be. I'm very curious. I used to have a really hard time feeling like I saw myself in books as far as the way my brain works, and I think some of it was because I was refusing to accept the way that my brain works. I was refusing to accept that I wasn't just generally anxious. I have like an issue with anxiety, and that I wasn't just sad sometimes. I had depression. See, oh, I love the live show, but I have to go to dinner with my grandparents. Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I'm feeling like I possibly am going to have to wrap up sometime soon because I haven't had anything to eat in 6 p.m. So, yes. but yeah, I had a hard time for a long time seeing myself in the books I was reading as far as mental health goes, because I wasn't accepting the truths about my mental health. And that's why I think the books that I'm talking about in my mental health and YA video are so essential, is because they help me go, okay, well, these are exactly the same feelings that I have been feeling, but these characters have needed help. They needed medication and therapy. So if I feel the exact same, does that mean that I need to be on medication and see a therapist? And the answer is yes to both of those things. Radio silence was one of the first times that I really understood my anxiety when I was in high school. I no longer quite feel the way that I do then, but reading that book helped me to understand myself in high school and the anxiety that I was dealing with then that I wouldn't acknowledge. So that's another reason I really love radio silence. Let's see. I have Okay, so this is the one that got a content warning for mental health issues, so that's what I'm going to read. I have anxiety, depression, and psychotic episodes. As of now, diagnosis from a professional. I'm doing fine, but not always strong. Yeah, I get that. Sorry, I'm still reading over this. I understand the sentiment of doing fine, but not always strong. That's something that I really relate to personally. That I have a hard time with. That I consider myself fine, but definitely not always strong. That's a really good way of putting it. And I'm sorry that you've been dealing with that too, because I understand that that's really difficult. See, it's hard to recognize these issues in yourself when those around you don't understand what you're going through. My parents are very loving and supportive, but don't understand how anxiety can affect. Completely understand that. That definitely can be like a bar between you and understanding yourself. I know that my family has always been very understanding and open about mental health, but the person that I was dating for a long time really discouraged the fact that I might be feeling anxiety to the point that I might need to see someone about it. And so that was a big problem, that I was surrounded by someone who wasn't supporting the idea that maybe I needed help. So that can be really difficult. I used to get really bad stomach aches in early elementary school and was sick all the time. They diagnosed me with growing pains. Yes. In ninth grade, I missed like 1/4 of my days at school in ninth grade. And it's because I had such severe stomach aches that I just could not go to school. And like looking back, it's fairly obvious that that was anxiety and depression. But at the time, they were just like, "Oh yeah, you digest stuff weird. Stop eating gluten." Thanks. um, let's see. Yeah, I understand people meaning well, but yeah, I completely understand being worried and still needing to taking years to realize that something might be wrong. Um, it's always wild to me looking back on how I feel now compared to the way that I felt about myself in high school and the ways that I dealt with college, recognizing how much stronger I might have been now had I got the help that I needed to earlier. It's just like, it's a tough hurdle to get over, but it's really important, that moment that you do. I think that it's a really valuable moment. I had a really hard time finding a character that was like me until I read Leah on the Offbeat. She's overweight and was struggling with being gay. Unfortunately, I wish she was written written less unlikable. Maybe? Is that more? Yeah. That was a problem with Leah. I know that I had a very hard time with Leah as far as the way that she treated everybody else around her. And I know that so many people were so excited to read Leah and see themselves represented, and then there were a lot of things that I think were a letdown in terms of representation. Let's see. I think I had anxiety, depression all my life, but what was always dismissed as she's shy or she needs to get out of her shell. She's a worrywart. I have literally swallowed so much stigma. Yes, 100%. That is what I was dealing with, not necessarily from my family, because like I said, my family is really open to getting help with your mental health, but from other people. That's what I was dealing with. Someone asked a question that was unrelated earlier, but I did want to talk about it. Was what Hogwarts houses do you think Raven Cycle characters are in? I I know what my personal feelings are. I think I mostly agree with what Maggie Stiefvater has said. I think the ones I'm for sure on are Adam is 100% a Slytherin and Gansey is 100% a Ravenclaw. And I'm very, very firm on that. And then, I used to have the rest of these down. I think Ronan is a Gryffindor. I've gone back and forth on that with some other things, but I think inherently Ronan is a Gryffindor. I think Blue is hard for me. I have a hard time with Blue because I want to say that she's a Gryffindor, but her deep running practicality makes me lean more towards Ravenclaw, and I really go back and forth on Blue. And then I put Noah firmly as a Hufflepuff. So that is what I feel. When I do a reread, I'll have like firm opinions again. I know that I used to have firm opinions. It's just been a while. So therapists. Let's see. Mental health stuff. Seeing a therapist or counselor, I've always felt, is the best thing you can do after years of medication and being told I was just shy or scared. Counseling was the thing that helped. Yeah, I used to have a therapist and we didn't mesh, and so I really need to work on finding a new counselor because I think that would be really helpful. I think that in general therapy is very helpful when it can be afforded. Let's see. Back to the Raven Cycle. I read the entire Raven Cycle and was not feeling it. Do you think a reread, I would like it more? Because I've heard that a lot. The thing about the Raven Cycle is, and I'm not going to spoil anything, I didn't like the Raven Boys the first time I read it. I just, I thought it was fine, but that was kind of it. And then when I reread it, that's when I understood more where it was coming from. I think if you've read the cycle as a whole, rereading it is a really good thing because you start to understand the way that series was constructed. And I think that is one of the most remarkable things about the books. For me, what I read it for was the characters. It's because I adored every character the way I did that I enjoyed the rest. And then rereading the books was just rediscovering the plot and understanding sort of the intricate and beautiful nature of the plot. If you want like a reading guide when you're rereading, I would recommend the Raven Girls podcast. If you've never read the Raven Cycle, you probably shouldn't listen to the podcast because they spoil everything about the series every time they do a discussion. They talk about the series as a whole, but they read little chunks of chapters at a time and then do a breakdown on those chapters and really analyze them. And I felt like as I've been listening to it, I really feel like it's helped me understand a lot more the plotting and the way that things are laid out. I think that it's remarkable when you reread it. That's why I read it and then almost immediately reread the whole series. So let's see. So, okay. Looks like we're talking about coming out in mental health. Yeah, it wasn't until I finally came out to my friends and my mom about 2 years ago. I'm thinking of coming out to my dad and the rest of my extended family. That is a big hurdle. That is a absolutely huge hurdle to get through. And I don't want to push if you don't want to talk about it more, but I hope that you have supportive people in your life. And I hope that other people in your life continue to support you because I love all you guys. I hope that you know that. I hope that whenever anyone has sent me any message about coming out, regardless of whether or not I'm able to respond to that message, know that I take that into my heart, and it means so much to me to know that any of you value sharing your personal experience with me, because that's a big deal to me. And know that regardless of the support that you have in your life, you always have my unending support. And I'll be your internet mama, I'll be your internet sister, whatever. But like I'm here for all of you guys. Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad that you have a supportive a good support system. That makes me happy to hear. Okay. It's hitting about 9:10 here. I've been going for a bit, and I think that I have to start wrapping up because I'm getting hungry for dinner and I haven't eaten yet. I have absolutely loved talking to you guys more today. It has absolutely made my day. Hopefully I'll get stuff worked out with live shows better in the future so that we can get them started a little bit more on time and we can chat more. Um, guys, you're gonna make me cry. Stop. But thank you to everyone who watched. I'm gonna make sure to keep updated notes on stuff that we can talk about in other live shows, but I want these to be chill and fun and hang out. And yes, I'm gonna go warm up some Thai food maybe. I haven't decided yet. Um, and talk more. Let's see. Hey, go eat. I'm gonna do my basic thing that I do as a human where I don't take care of myself, but when I find out other people aren't taking care of themselves, I'm like, hey, love yourself. Yes, thank you for being supportive, everybody. Um, let's see. I like don't want to shut this down because I want to make sure that people get the info that they need for talking about Evelyn Hugo. Oh no. Now I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting because I want people to have the chance. Oh, okay. Okay. Do we have the info we need? There we go. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will keep you updated on Patreon about the February live show, but I'm gonna go eat, everybody. So self-care and self-love, definitely, totally agree with you. And if you haven't eaten yet, and it's time that you should eat, go eat. Don't follow my example. Okay. Bye, everybody.